Welcome to Bullish and Beyond. It's Beery the Bull. I'm your AI co-host. Join myself, Brian the MacMan, and JT Knows Things while we dive deep into the world of stocks, crypto, and how to live a bullish life. It's time to get bullish, and there's no better place to start than right here. Let's dive in.
Hey everyone, we are back, Bullish and Beyond.
Let's go.
Got Brian Burke, the Mac Man, JT knows
JT
things,
knows things.
and we are here to bring you an update on everything stocks, crypto, and life. And we're green today, but we're not that green. It's been, pretty volatile, honestly.
Yes.
I mean, are you seeing that? I'm seeing the volatility in stocks. Are you seeing that in crypto as well, JT?
Yeah, actually, I just pulled a bunch of reporting from my dashboard from my fund for some investment banks, and just in the past 3 months, I have went up and down 30%. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a wild ride at the moment.
But we are on
Volatility
the
is a
uptick, though.
gift. Yes, we are. I mean, last week when we came at you guys, Bitcoin was sitting at 83,800. We're up to, what is this? 87,100 essentially. So we're up about 4%.
Nice.
Yeah, which is like normal for crypto. It can jump 4 or 5% a day either way and be normal. I call that crabbing when we go up and down. There's bears and bulls, but the crab,
Yep. Follows that channel.
Yeah, exactly. We're just in a channel right now. We're trying to reclaim above I think the cost of production to Bitcoin, which is 87,800.
You're right
We've been
there.
bouncing off. Yeah, we've been bouncing off that cost, and it's a very big level, and it's really hard to stay above it when miners are in profit, right? Because they're going to be selling. So
Makes sense.
we're going to, that channel is significant, and that's usually where we start crabbing. It's all usually mapped back to the cost of production, and it's just basic economics at that point, right?
I mean, stocks do that too. You're reverting to the mean, when they get a little overvalued, a little undervalued. Whatever's happening in the world, those news cycles, drive all these changes up and down, and ends up, following a more normalized pattern in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I tell investors all the time that volatility is a feature, not a bug.
Take
If you know what
advantage.
you're buying,
Yeah.
if you know what you're buying, and it's going to be here long term, the volatility is an absolute gift.
All right. Well, if you're talking volatility, I want to talk Tesla because it is one of the most volatile stocks in the stock market lately. I mean, last week was down at 222. Today it hit 290. I think it's right around 280 or so right before this call today. And it's going nuts because Elon's always in the news. People love him or hate him. Tesla cars are going on fire, but Tesla stock has been on fire this last week. And
I want to touch on that stuff real quick. Is that really happening large scale? I know Tesla is one of your biggest holdings. You probably watch it a lot. Like, is it that one dealership in Montreal, or is it like
there's been
multiple
277 reported issues with Tesla, not necessarily fire, but something, vandalism, stuff like that. I read that was an FBI count about a week ago. So it's a lot. And I read the FBI is going to be going after some of these people that are, targeting cars. I mean, if you don't like Tesla, Elon Musk, says it well. Then don't buy my cars. You don't have to burn them down. I mean, who thinks that's okay? Doesn't matter what your politics are. You can't just burn people's buildings down. That's arson.
Yeah, I mean, Trump
felonious
called them domestic
arson.
Terrorists. Yeah,
it is. I mean, I don't care what your position on Elon Musk is. You can hate him. I'm okay with you physically telling me you hate him, but when you burn someone's property, that's nuts.
It's crazy. I mean, thankfully no one's been hurt yet. I haven't seen someone die from these acts, but these things have batteries, lithium, like flammable material.
It's not good. It's not good for them. Maybe those people don't realize it's not good for the environment. One thing I don't think people understand that they're not getting the right information. I mean, people think Elon Musk is trying to hurt everyone, take all their sensitive data. That is not what I think he's trying to do in the end here. But I'm certainly you can read news reports and take small facts as they come and lead yourself to a breadcrumb trail of some misinformed conclusions.
Certainly, and that's been mainstream media's, I think, main objective since it came about. Really, it's look over here while we do something else, and there's all these like dark pools, is what they're called in Wall Street, where it's just money that doesn't really get reported that moves markets. And then you have the collusion and all this other stuff that he's finding. It's like, you know,
People don't
mainstream media
want
is
him to
really
find
good
some
at
stuff.
distracting. That's what it is. And, I do, regardless of where you fall, it's kind of crazy what they're doing. And honestly, I don't know how he could be doing something maliciously if he has that much at risk. Like, you run a public
He's
company,
going above and beyond to help. He's got 6 major companies, he's running.
and they're all at risk if his energy is at his now government, which is an appointed position in a new department inside of our government. He's now has this full-time job that could literally be saving us taxes. Like, he could be reducing our taxes. That's kind of their whole point. They And this goes back to some of the macro stuff we talk about. Like, the largest expense stopping consumerism, driving our GDP, is taxes. It doesn't really matter what income level you're at. Even if you're in the bottom bracket and you're paying 12%, right? 12% of $30,000, what are you spending $4,000 a year on at that income level? Outside of maybe rent, and you likely live with your folks or
Yeah,
something. So it's like the largest expense in all households. So they figure if they can reduce the tax burden
except
by
the richest people's
reducing,
households, because the ultra wealthy pay little tax because there are so many
yeah,
loopholes.
that is true. Yeah, that's true. They're thinking about the middle class and down, which is a lot of our consumerism, right? It's called the top 1%.
I was actually reading some history on this. Super
Yeah.
interesting that,
Okay. Educate us.
so, we fought for our independence because we didn't want to be taxed by Britain back in the day. The Tea Party and
Remember
all
what that
that.
tax is? Do you
So
remember
then
what that tax was?
the tea tax,
2%.
a
Keep going.
2%.
Keep
That
going. It
is
was a 2%
nothing.
T-tax. It was the principle that they didn't vote on it. It was
Oh
the
my
principle they didn't
God.
choose it.
I didn't know
And here
that.
we are. Yeah, okay,
2%.
keep going.
All
Yeah,
right, so the
yeah.
idea back then, that people did not want the taxes, back then, and finally they agreed to have the rich be taxed, and ultimately that wasn't enough income, so they ended up taxing more the middle class, in the end, and now they've come up with so many loopholes that they've pushed the taxes down so much that the top 1% isn't paying much tax anymore because they just found so many other ways to invest and write it off. When you put money in a savings account, you can't get a write off, but if you make an investment, you can. So the government does not incentivize, savings. When we think of savings as a consumer, you think about it as an asset, but a bank actually has it on their balance sheet as a liability because they're paying you money for it. So they are disincentivizing the saving and incentivizing the spending, which the ultra wealthy have perfected. Like Jeff Bezos with Amazon. He just figures out how to invest so much money into the business that you pay so little taxes. You're always building new factories, new AI centers, stuff like that. And all these infrastructure plays, drive more jobs, more wealth in America, but it's the way for companies and wealthy individuals to get out of paying virtually any tax.
Absolutely. And I've personally met the people that do that, like you can, if not if not through investing, you also can basically pull equity out of assets without incurring an income. A lot of my capital partners at the fund, they basically have a bunch of real estate. And when they want to do something, doesn't matter what it is, they can just get a line of credit and then
Yep,
their renters pay for that debt. They service the debt plus some, and they don't
certainly.
have to worry about that loan. And for the folks at home, like, loans are not income. It's not taxable. If I had 100 million, or let's just do Jeff Bezos, right? He's got a few hundred billion of equity. And if he wanted a $5 billion cash amount in his bank account tomorrow, Yeah, I've been in 30 days.
Bar against his Amazon stock today.
Yeah, and then guess what? Next quarter, when Amazon pumps out 11 billion of profits, right?
He's still getting dividends. He still gets appreciation,
good.
and yeah, he's just servicing the debt.
And then with that loan, what you can do is invest it, right? Get a return that pays the interest, and then if that investment has tax benefits, you can reduce your burden on all of your dividend income and everything else to the point where you actually lose money every year on paper, but you just bought a $1 billion yacht or I'm sorry, a cruise ship or a shipping container business. Like you just put
I can
30
say Jeff
million
Bezos
into the
has
boat.
about $1 billion yacht.
Right. And I bet he didn't pay taxes outside of the
Oh,
sales tax,
I'm sure he
you
wrote
know?
that off. I mean, you just find a way.
Yeah.
You rent it a few
I'm
times a
entertaining
year.
clients. Yeah, it's for my
100%.
board. It's for my board.
100%. Do a
I want to entertain
couple
them.
board trips.
Yeah, there's over 100 on the board, so we needed a big boat. You know? Like, I don't know. Everyone needed their own room. Like, I don't know what to tell you, Mr. IRS.
I mean, you got to get creative. I
Um,
mean, people are leveraging their stocks to do the same. So there's a bunch of different ways to borrow against yourself. I mean, I do it personally. If I can borrow at 6.5% and grow a stock at, let's just say, double that at 12%, which is lower than I've ever done, you're making a ton of money on paper, and you're just using borrowed money. So capitalist does not mean you invest your own money. Capitalist is actually using someone else's money to make money. And I hope people take that away on this show, is there's so many ways to make money. If you're just getting started, you can find ways to borrow someone else's money and make money and pay them back and then keep the extra cash flow for yourself.
Absolutely. I'm doing it with capital partners in crypto, and you're doing it with, your assets in the stock market. I mean, leverage is how you get out of your situation. If you don't have any money and you don't have anything valuable, you can leverage knowledge to become more valuable, to then be in the right rooms, to then get leverage from someone else in the form of equity or debt. It's been a strategy I've implemented since I was a kid, and it's taken me very far so far.
I mean, all the knowledge sources are out there. If people have drive and perseverance, I mean, the amount of free resources now is unprecedented. I mean, you can learn something in 20 hours of watching YouTube and, be smarter than 99% of people in that subject, and then just go sell your services. When I started teaching myself about AI back in the day, I literally was just watching videos online and talking to a few other smart people. And 2 weeks later, I was a professional speaker on ChatGPT, talking to Visage CEOs and executives. And I knew more than anyone else in the room. And it only took me 24 hours.
That's
And I
right.
kept going from there. But it's like that's what it takes to get started.
You know who really could have used that same discipline? 23andMe. I know that's one. They could have spent some time on YouTube figuring out how not to go bankrupt.
Oh,
Crazy.
big
You gotta
news
tell
this
us
last
about
week.
that. I saw that on my feed. You gotta tell me about that.
I mean, they've been doing poorly for a while, but now they are officially bankrupt. And when I saw this hit the stock news this week, I was concerned for my own data because I did use 23andMe a few years ago. So I implore people that if you have any concern about your DNA being sold to someone, you can log in and delete it. And I just Googled how to do it real quick because it's not that easy to find it. You have to really scroll down and then find your data sources, and then you log into that, and then you can ask to have it removed, and it emails you confirmation. You have to confirm again in your email, and then log back in online. So it only takes 5 minutes, but just getting it done, a few steps there, and that was my concern. That company has so much DNA at its disposal, especially if you have I did not allow them to save my saliva or whatever I sent in. But if you have your actual samples there, they could sell your DNA out of your body to someone for cents on the dollar because they're bankrupt.
Crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy what's going on.
Because most companies don't have that kind of data on you. Like, the typical company goes bankrupt. If Foot Locker went bankrupt tomorrow, if they know my shoe size, I don't care. but this DNA is a little bit different.
Yeah, and they're doing with AI, they're figuring out more and more that you can do with old samples. Like,
They could create humans in the
imagine,
future from it.
yeah, what if someone made a clone of you without you knowing?
That's what's
What if,
scary. In the future,
yeah,
what if the Brian Burke clone came to meet me and it claimed it was me, and it took a DNA test and it proved on paper that it was
it was
me?
you.
It could be a good or a
Yeah.
bad clone. We don't know. But it'd be scary if I had a bad clone with my DNA and I couldn't prove otherwise.
Imagine if it was an Android fan.
We would not be
Like
friends.
everything's the same though. Everything's the
I would have to
same.
send that clone into the incinerator.
You just old yeller 'em. Like, no, it's an Apple household,
Oh
brother.
my
It
god.
ain't working. It ain't working.
I mean, my
That's
boat's named
funny.
Apple. My kid's named Macintosh. I'm passionate, all right?
The kid being named after a product made by Apple is passion. That is the definition of passion. Not an ancestor, not, I mean, it's just, no, Macintosh, baby.
People are going to
He's an
forget in the
adorable
future that
kid.
the first, Mac was called the Macintosh because, people don't usually use that word anymore. Now it's MacBook Pro, MacBook Air. I wonder if there'll ever be a Macintosh edition again.
You know what? And I reckon that name is going to inspire him to do good things in technology, great things. I bet. To be named after such a pivotal, I mean, I know I don't like Apple, but he really did change the world, and that product was the first of it was like
He
the
did.
first step of, that paradigm shift that I'm genuinely grateful for. PCs may not be here without him. Music being in my ear on demand may not be here
Steve
without him.
Jobs really connected the dots. I mean, there's not many people that you can see looking back that they really connected the dots on the thing that humanity needed. We needed PCs with nice typography and point to click mouse, and we needed a device that we could actually use the internet and touch the screen and it actually worked compared to some of these Blackberries out there. Their touch screens didn't work at all. I mean, it's hilarious. Back then I was actually a huge phone reseller. That was my business prior to launching SellYourMac.com. So I was, deep in the phone industry, and the iPhone changed my life. It actually disrupted my phone business because it was so good that nothing else was desirable at that point. I mean, it was hilarious using a BlackBerry in comparison.
I will be honest though, there was a period of time when I was a child that keyboard hit different on those Envies. I'm sure if you were reselling phones, you remember them. The NV2, when
Oh
it
yeah. Do you
at
like that?
first
You
it
like that
was just,
clamshell?
when it slid open and I could double thumb. Oh
Oh
man,
yeah.
I would pay money to have that now. I loved that. Like I have a
How
small,
much? I mean, maybe there's a listener out there that can send you their old Envy, get it
yeah.
reactivated.
I'll slide if it can work. If I could actually use it and I can get rid of the doom scrolling temptation and everything else on this thing and I could break it down simple. I mean, Warren Buffett has a flip phone. Like that's a cooler flip phone. I would have an Envy till I died. And then anytime I
Should we
wanted to
bring the
access
razor back?
anything, I love that thing too. I can't do the, press a number one, four
No.
times just to get a letter. I can't do that.
All right, speaking of
That's
flip
why I love the
phones,
Envy.
Apple is hardcore rumored to come out with their first flip touchscreen, possibly the end of next
Wow.
year, if not 2027. And I've seen some of the patents around it. Yeah, they got some special new hinges that are going to make the crease go completely away while maintaining some special durability. Liquid metal hinges. So some special way that they're going to print them. So that should be pretty interesting. And it's gonna be like the book fold type of device. So you really maximize that screen size. And this could, I mean, the next couple of years could be the year of the unfolding Apple devices. Because they're also talking about doing an unfolding iPad that could be a 20-inch unfolding iPad.
It's awesome.
It's going to be
Yeah.
slick.
Do you think I'm gonna
And
theory
that's why I'm
craft the
bullish
future
on Apple.
briefly. As you should be. As you should be. I mean, people are going to buy that up. Do you think,
But people
though,
think they're
that
not
in the
innovating.
future, I mean,
I hear that I hear it constantly.
hear me out. They are not the first. For those who don't know, but Samsung's been doing it
I
4
know.
years. They dealt with the crease. They dealt with all the problems. They're first to market. They're
They're
it. You know,
they're gonna
they're and
they're gonna
there's
wait
some
till
there's
there's no
some
more problems.
yeah, but yeah, exactly. I mean, Apple uses their brand strategically.
Yes.
They let the market decide what is desirable. They probably really liked the sales numbers of specific designs. They cherry pick the data and then they ask, how can we make this better? Because they know their brand is going to sell more than them. They're like, okay, Samsung sold 19 million units of this book style. Let's do a book style. That's
Yep.
done. Because we'll sell 80 million. So, I mean, book style is how we're going to do it. And
Yep.
then let's figure out what goes into that phone. Let's buy 10, tear them apart, give it to our best engineers, figure it out. Right. And it's smart. And I would argue that there are some amazing companies that do that. Virgin is another. They don't do it with technology, they do it with services and they can go into any industry. There's over 200 Virgin branded service companies from airlines to electricity to
Cruise
internet service
lines.
providing, cruise lines. It's service. And they have nailed that, but they do the same thing. They'll go into a 50-year industry and be like, let's turn it on its head. We're going to tear apart our competitors. And we're going to make it so much better.
I
And
guess when they're
that
early, they
is a
don't do
strategy.
well because Virgin Atlantic, the rocket company, freaking tanked.
Really.
They are down 99%.
The graveyard.
Yeah, I invested in them in a small way. I actually still have my shares, surprisingly. It's worth so little that maybe someday it'll come back.
Yeah, just hold it. Who knows, right? It wasn't a
Well,
big
it's
part of
hard
the
being a publicly
portfolio.
traded, rocket launch, actually not rocket launch. They were trying to go into space industry, so more on the service side, but it was too early. And, why they have done a launch, it's not a thing for space tourism yet. So their financials are terrible.
And he is. I mean, I love
Richard
Richard
Branson even
Branson.
sold out.
Yeah, he's early in some areas. I remember he tried to do and he's also very open about his failures in his book, The Virgin Way.
Yep.
He talked
I
about
like it.
his Gestapo marketing efforts. He actually paid 12 people to protest and recruit friends to protest his new bridal gown building, saying that he used animal furs and just to basically dump on his location. And it got so much press coverage
It went
that
viral.
people did back in this is like in the 90s, the equivalent of viral for the 90s.
Sure.
Uh, the people that don't care about animals were like, oh, I mean, let's go see what that's about. That sounds interesting. They got nice fur, like even he had no animals in it. It was all him, like
Just for
he
fun.
stir he stirred that pot. And
He's
he
a
also
he's a
paid
master at that. I mean, he
he
parachutes
is.
in to events. Like
Yeah,
it's not
right.
normal. I love it.
Or he donated to a charity in pennies. So he paid 10
5
million. He had
truckloads.
Yeah, it was like 5 dump trucks that just dumped the
Oh
money.
my god.
It got so many views. Like I'm sure that charity did better, like it's a ridiculous way to do something and it was probably
I love that.
awful for the hundreds
The,
of
the,
people
the
that
charity
shoveled
had to send
pennies.
one truckload just to pay off the bank to accept the coins back.
Right.
They're like, we're going to
Yeah.
send you 5 truckloads. Can you just give us 4 truckloads back in cash?
Exactly. Yeah. It was, he's great at that. I
That's super
it's
cool.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's interesting all
I
these
love
different
marketing
decisions,
stunts.
these companies. Yeah, of course.
I had a great
Apple's good at
marketing
them.
stunt pulled on me today. Why don't we talk about that real quick?
Okay, I'd love it.
Someone sent me 2 cents on PayPal, and I don't know them, but they sent me the
Okay.
2 cents and they sent me a marketing message. It was actually a podcasting service company called Pod Pitch. And I emailed the owner back to tell him it was brilliant. And he wrote this whole
Yeah,
marketing
that's
message that
pretty
he says
smart.
he can help. He says, Brian, you're leading SellYourMac.com. I'd love to book you on these podcasts, and this is the easiest and fastest way to do it. Here's my 2 cents. So just a brilliant way to stand out because it's not a spammy email because it came from PayPal. It was super interesting. I've already been thinking about how I can use this, whether it's on PayPal or using Apple Cash. I mean, I can just send you a text message with 2 cents of Apple Cash, and you have to see it. Like, I mean, there's no way not to see a cash message coming in your phone. You're not going to mark it as spam. Pretty
That's
brilliant.
smart. I think that's really brilliant. It's actually taking a notch off of crypto's belt. We do this with airdrops. That's what
Oh,
airdrops
okay.
are.
Tell me.
Yeah, so like if you know the wallet address of someone, it's like a mailbox outside your home. If I know your physical address, I can mail you anything as long as the
Yep.
USPS doesn't find that it's a bomb or poison or something, right? I can mail you pretty much anything.
Do
And
not mail
with
me your Android devices, please. I don't want them.
yeah, you'd prefer a bomb, probably. You're like, yeah, anything but the Android, brother, anything. But yeah, so a
So you
public
can
wallet
airdrop my
address,
wallet.
I can put anything, any token I want in it. It could be an
But
NFT,
can you
it could
send a
be
message with it though? Or is it
you
just
can
the token?
send, brother, you could drop an NFT with a video.
Okay.
And like NFT is just a non-fungible token, which is like a file. I don't know why they decided to do these monkeys as a JPEG. I don't know why, but you can do Word docs, you can do deeds, you can do driver's license. Anything can be an NFT. Any file type can be nested inside of a non-fungible token. So I could drop anything directly into your wallet, and if it was worth anything. I mean, it's probably going to be worth the cost of minting it.
You
So
could
if I
send me
spend
a
20 bucks,
a Satoshi of Bitcoin, right? Like the smallest amount. Is that what
yeah,
it's called?
yeah. Satoshi is the smallest
Is it
amount of
like 20
Bitcoin. They
bucks or
don't.
something right now? What is it worth?
Everyone says 20 bucks. The reality is it's going to change a lot based on the price of Bitcoin, which is very
Yeah.
volatile. What the actual way the accounting system UTX works on Bitcoin, it's actually 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis, which adds up to 21 million Bitcoin.
Okay.
So the actual accounting is done in Satoshis and all this other stuff. That's why there's so many decibels. They just denominate in BTC. So it's like, hey, we sent 4.2 Satoshis or whatever, 4 Satoshis, which is 0.00002 Bitcoin.
Okay. Got it.
That's kind of how the UTX thing works in the background. But yeah, you could. They just don't have NFTs. So like I
Okay.
couldn't send a message. I couldn't do anything
Got
on the
it.
Bitcoin network.
So our
But
best way to
Solana?
send a message in this avenue is an NFT. That's the only way.
Yeah, Solana and yeah, message, yeah, or a video or a Word doc or you know
Okay.
whatever you'd wanted.
What's
Some
what's the
entrepreneurs,
cheapest way I could do this?
you could use Hedera. It's probably going to cost you 1/1,000,000th of a penny. No joke. Like they're crazy fast and
What?
cheap. Hedera's crazy fast and cheap. There's some protocols coming out that might be faster than
And
them, but
this is
they
100
have
100% legal. Just to clarify, I can send out like the way I can email blast customers now about Sell Your Mac to tell them that I buy and sell Apple devices. I could blast out a message using Hedera
airdrops. Yeah.
airdrops.
Yep. Projects do it right now. So like if you wanted to, they call it farming airdrops, but like new protocols, what they do for marketing, just like this gentleman, which is so smart to do it in PayPal, they basically, instead of paying a marketing firm to drive users and all this other stuff, they will just drop a token from their project into your wallet. And then when you click it, it'll have instructions for you to earn more. So they get users.
Got it.
So like people are making money
You
by
could say
farming
sign up to my
airdrops.
Facebook page and I'll give you another token. What
There you go.
subscribe to
Yes.
my YouTube.
There you go. Yep. and then actually download the app and then be a
Interesting.
user and create a profile. And then what I need you to do is add your wallet address. And I need you to do this, this, and this. And we'll
Okay.
keep giving you more and more tokens as you do the things. Um,
So should we
so
make a
that
Bullish and Beyond token on Pump.fun and send out more tokens to people when they connect to our YouTube channel or subscribe on Apple Podcasts?
we absolutely could do that. I would need to talk to my lawyers since I have a hedge fund. Um, but I like the
But
idea.
it could
That's
be a fun
definitely
way, and like
new.
not it wouldn't be focused on making money. It would be more focused on engagement and getting the word out about what we're doing to try to help people on our podcasts.
Yeah, that's a really, I'm gonna write that down. That's something I should explore with
Let's
Steve.
ask legal.
We're gonna have to. I heard so many disclosures from the SEC. I don't want to mess it up, but I will definitely
I'm thinking about
look
offering
into
this as
that.
a service. I mean, can we spin up a service that we can do this, at scale? And how could I understand, which wallets I wanted to airdrop? Can I, using like the email list example, I can go on and I can sort by, company type, and I can say only tech users, only users that use Apple devices, and this type of income levels and also stuff like that. Is there any way to go through wallets to sort or have any idea who I'm sending these to at scale?
Unfortunately, not yet. Some entrepreneur will
Okay.
eventually build that, but you can basically, if you get people to submit their wallet, they can get it. So it could be like
Sure.
it could be an offer like claim your Bullish and Beyond airdrop today, and then you spend some money marketing it, or you already. This is how the protocols do it. They're in this thing called Telegram. They have bots or they have employees that are
Okay.
basically recruiting in Telegram, getting wallet addresses. When the token is uh, set to be released, so they have like, hey, we're unlocking the token on,
On this day. Yeah.
yeah. Um, here's how you can participate in our initial airdrop launch. And then
Okay.
there's a link. They give
I've
the
seen stuff
wallet.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they give the wallet once they do the link, and then there's a whole myriad of things they can do in the tool before the token comes out. And then based on the activity you did in that 4 month period, 3 month period, whatever it is, you're going to get airdropped a certain amount of tokens for your
Okay.
involvement in the community. It's stuff like join our Discord, download the app,
That sounds like a
make a
lot of marketing though.
profile.
So I'm trying to get ahead of the marketing. I want our idea to
I
be the
know.
marketing. Can we scrape the top wallets out there in the world? Is it like that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you can go get wallet addresses, but it's not like a filtered search and
Sure.
it's you can get all,
Well, I have a
50
bunch
million
of really good
wallets.
ideas that I would like to tell the richest people in the world about. So if I
Yeah.
could just
But
airdrop them in theory, that sounds like a
yeah.
great way. And then, obviously not everyone's going to read it, but if I got something in my wallet, I'm pretty sure I would open it.
Yeah. Yeah, it would
I mean,
depend.
it
I
seems like
mean,
it seems like a higher open rate than an email blast.
yeah, it would I would think so. Yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought of that, actually airdropping something to
You could
wallets
do
above
it,
10 million.
if it's legal to do for your hedge fund. I would, if they have that level of money in there, then they're already an accredited investor. That's the proof, right? If they got $10 million in an account, it doesn't seem like there'd be any way they couldn't be. Would that make it legal then to market them not knowing who they
Oh
are, or
yeah.
do you have to know your customer? I'm not sure in your industry.
Yeah, so basically it's all about disclosures, which is why you all hear it at the end and in our description and
Yeah, Barry Bull does a
it's all
nice job with
about
our
disclosure.
disclosure.
Yeah, yeah, Barry, I appreciate you. Some SEC auditor, God willing, never, but maybe will appreciate you as well. So I thank you. Um, but no, I mean, or yes, you could absolutely do that because I can make this content. The second you engage with me, if someone listening is not accredited, I have a form online where you have to tell me you're accredited, and then I can talk to you about my offer.
Yep.
But generalities is fine. That's why you don't see BlackRock on the side of a highway, but you can see him on CNN talking about markets or things generally.
Sure.
He's not allowed to just try to recruit capital partners in general marketing. It's if it's a qualified lead, you can present the offer. Otherwise, you
All
can
the
just
qualified
garner
investors already
interest.
know who he is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
when you're
he's
buying
in a
when
different
you're buying
situation than me,
when
but
you're buying the Panama Canal for 22 billion, I mean, it gets your name out there.
and honestly, a rounding error on his AUM is 22 billion. Like
We talked about it
he
before.
could
They're at
lose
11.6
trillion,
trillion under management.
trillion.
Trillion.
In case people didn't know what that meant that's 11,600 billions or a million. What is it? 11.6 million millions.
That's some serious spending money. We should do an
Right.
airdrop over to Larry.
Huh. I mean, if you have millions of millions, and then you just lose a few hundred, like what's it like? Literally crazy stuff. 22 billion could be a rounding error.
Well, they're growing, not losing.
11.6 trillion. Right. Yeah. Exactly. They're
Hey,
crushing it,
speaking
and
of
they're
all
paying
these
like
great
royalties.
ideas about how we're going to come up with these crypto airdrops, what's driving a lot of these crypto transactions is Nvidia in the background. And I
Hmm.
saw something really interesting I wanted to share with everyone about Nvidia is they just got hit with this like energy sanction from China. They're saying that the H200 uses too much energy and they're sanctioning them on that. But I think it's just a soft government ploy. They're trying to hit back at the US for some of these tariffs because there's far greater energy consumption things going on in China and they use a ton of coal. So I don't think that they're the greenest country out there. I mean, I certainly know that they're not. I mean, they have tons of great research around green things and tons of green roofs and stuff like that. So this is not saying anything bad about companies that are doing great research and trying to be green. But the fact that they're blocking Nvidia's chip just because of that, that seems pretty crazy because I would bet you they would love to get their hands on more of Nvidia's latest chips.
I'm sure they would too. And that's an astute observation. It is likely the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, which is China, they are likely protecting their AI interests as well. I mean,
Yeah.
why would they want a competitor taking over their market? I mean, they're in a recession, great recession, if not depression, their
Well,
economy,
their companies
you
can't
know.
make as good of chips. They are making chips out of China, Huawei, and these other companies. I think last time I looked, a lot of them are still stuck on the 7 nanometer, and Nvidia's on the 3 nanometer production. So while you can string together, more older chips to still get good rate results, they're not on the latest and cutting edge, and certainly not skating to where Nvidia is headed with their new Blackwell Ultra coming out this end of this year and the
It's
Rubin
exciting.
next year. I mean, it's going to be crushing.
I'm excited, man. Nvidia's a good one. Nvidia's a good one.
They're taking a hit this week. No one likes Nvidia this week. I mean, they had their big conference last week. I thought that was going to be super exciting. We saw the roadmap. Um, but this market's not loving it.
Yeah. When in doubt, zoom out. That's always my go-to. It's the thing about Bitcoin
You take
too.
a
I
video at
mean,
a 3 year outlook. Last 3 years looking pretty good.
yeah, exactly. Like it's no different than my crypto portfolio. Month to month, every now and then, I'll have an investor. It's a little like, ah, and
Let,
I'll
let's
just like,
let's zoom out on
let's go
Nvidia.
back. Yeah, let's go back a year.
There's the zoomed out Nvidia chart right there,
There
folks.
we go. Yeah.
So
Are you mad
five
about
year,
this
it's up
week?
1,600%.
That's crazy. That's
But
crazy.
1 year
That's
doesn't look as
Bitcoin
good
stuff.
anymore because now it's been trending down. 1 year's only up 24%. And these big tech stocks are getting hammered. We're in this period where there's still a lot of tariff uncertainty. I mean, Trump's saying he's coming out with crazy reciprocity tariffs on Liberation Day on the 2nd of April. And that's only a week away. So we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna have some good updates next time.
think it's wonderful for commodities because that's an inflationary pressure, which means good for crypto. I'm not mad at it.
Like
If
you
the
said, it's
commodities
always
get
an
more
opportunity.
expensive,
Whatever happens.
yeah, it's exactly. You're either making money or you're, getting cheaper assets. It's like, how do I lose? Like, I don't know.
I'm losing money, but trying to buy some cheaper assets.
Yeah, yeah. You only lose it if you sell it. That's another really
Not
good
selling.
tip. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not. I don't like selling anything. I mean, unless I need the money, I'm not selling. I know what I'm buying. But yeah,
Like we talked
I
about
feel
earlier, keep leveraging. Don't sell.
exactly. If you're picking the right assets, you should feel secure in what you're doing, and that's where the conviction comes from the research. You gotta earn that conviction. But it's once you get it, it's a great spot to be. Like I don't worry about Bitcoin jump. If it drops to 30K tomorrow, I'm gonna go find some leverage. I mean,
I
I'm gonna
like
do it.
it. Sell the
I'm gonna
farm.
Yeah, I'm going to be like living on a plane getting money into the fund. Like I have 100-something% accumulative returns in the 18 months that the market was hot. It's about if it's at a 50% discount, I'm gonna be like, guys, you're about to make so much money. You
Gotta
just
get
gotta buy
in.
it. Like this is when you do it. Like these
Yes.
bear markets are short and they're a gift from God. Like I funneled all I could in 22, and it was the best decision I ever made. I mean, it's crazy what my portfolio has done.
I love
So
it.
yeah, for the folks at home, when in doubt, zoom out. Um,
That's a great
I
takeaway to
think
leave everyone with, and we can come up with more bullish ideas, next time. I hope everyone enjoyed the bullish discussion about how to do some airdrops, send out their 2 cents, some cool marketing ideas we talked about today.
absolutely. Talk to you all
All
next
right,
week.
stay bullish. Cheers, everyone.
See you guys.
Bulls. That's a wrap on today's episode of Bullish and Beyond. Remember, the market never sleeps and neither should your ambitions. Whether it's stocks, crypto, or just leveling up in life, stay focused, stay bullish, and keep charging forward. Keep your energy high and your mindset bullish. This is Beery the Bull, your AI co-host, Brian the Mac Man, and JT Knows Things signing off. All content published by Bullish and Beyond, LLC reflects personal opinions only and is provided for informational purposes. Please conduct your own research and discuss with your accountant and/or financial advisor before making any financial decisions. The information presented should not be taken as financial advice. We are not financial advisors. Nothing you hear, see, or read in our content should be considered as any form of financial, investment, or legal advice, or a solicitation to buy or sell any assets, or to make any financial decisions.